You think your neighbor's fancy new car is impressive? Wait till you see what Thailand's king is driving. This dude's got a collection of 300 luxury rides that'll make your jaw drop. But that's just the start. We're about to take you on a wild ride through the insane life of Thailand's royal family. From billion-dollar real estate to diamond-studded everything, you won't believe how this king turned royal life into a billionaire's playground. From pilot to king, the early days. Alright, let's talk about Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn and how he went from regular prince to the king of excess. This guy wasn't always living the high life, believe it or not. Back in the day, he was just a prince with a passion for flying planes. But we're not talking about toy planes here. This dude was serious about his aviation skills. In the 1970s, Vajiralongkorn wasn't just sitting around in a palace. Nah, he was out there flying missions against communist rebels like it was no big deal. Can you imagine a prince today doing that? But that's how he rolled back then. He was all about that pilot life, probably thinking he was living his best days already. But little did he know that was just the beginning of his journey to becoming a royal baller. While his dad, King Bhumibol, was known for being down-to-earth and modest, Vajiralongkorn had other plans. He started collecting fancy cars and planes like they were going out of style. It wasn't enough to just fly planes. He had to own them too. And let me tell you, this guy didn't stop at just a couple of luxury rides. He went all out. We're talking about a collection that would make even the richest car enthusiasts jealous. But cars and planes were just the appetizer in Vajiralongkorn's feast of luxury. Fast forward to today, and this dude's got more bling than a rap video. He's taken the whole royal lifestyle thing and cranked it up to 11. We're talking about a fortune that makes other royals look like they're shopping at the dollar store. It's like he looked at the regular royal life and said, "Nah, that's not fancy enough for me." But here's the thing. How did he go from fighter pilot to the king of excess? That's the million-dollar question, or should we say billion-dollar? It's like he went from top gun to top spender overnight. One minute he's flying missions, the next he's flying in private jets decked out in gold. And we're not just talking about a little upgrade here. This guy's lifestyle change is like going from eating ramen to dining on caviar every day. He's got more luxury items than some small countries have GDP. It's wild to think about how much his life has changed since those early days as a pilot prince. Puppy love. The $100,000 dog party. You think throwing a birthday party for your dog is extra? Well, King Vajiralongkorn of Thailand just took it to a whole new level. This guy threw a bash for his poodle that cost more than most people's houses. We're talking about a $100,000 party for a dog named Foo Foo. Yeah, you heard that right. 100 grand for a canine celebration. But this wasn't just any old doggy party with some treats and a new chew toy. Nah, this was a full-on extravaganza with a guest list that'd make Hollywood jealous. Picture this. High-profile attendees showing up to celebrate a poodle's birthday. It's like the Met Gala, but for a dog. And get this, Foo Foo wasn't just any regular pet. This poodle had an actual military rank. We're not talking about some cute little costume either. Foo Foo was legit, given the title of Air Chief Marshal. That's right, a dog outranked most people in the Thai military. Talk about barking up the right tree, huh? Now, while all this was going down, people were losing their minds. And can you blame them? The old king was all about keeping it simple and down to earth. But Vajiralongkorn, he looked at normal royal pets and said, "Nah, not fancy enough." It's like he took the idea of spoiling your pet and cranked it up to 11. At this party, there wasn't just your average doggy bag of goodies. We're talking diamond-studded collars that probably cost more than your car. And the food, forget about regular old kibble. Foo Foo was chowing down on gourmet doggy treats that'd make a 5-star chef jealous. But the craziness didn't stop when the party was over. When Foo Foo finally went to the big dog park in the sky, Vajiralongkorn didn't just bury him in the backyard. Nope, he organized a 4-day funeral with full Buddhist rites. That's right, a multi-day religious ceremony for a dog. It's like the king looked at normal pet funerals and thought, not enough, let's make this epic. This whole Foo Foo situation really shows how Vajiralongkorn took puppy love to a whole new level of crazy rich. While most people are out here trying to figure out how to afford pet food, this guy's throwing parties that cost more than some people make in years, all for a dog. Sky-high living, the king's personal Boeing 737. While most of us are fighting for legroom in coach, Thailand's king is stretching out in his own flying palace. And get this, he ain't just riding, he's piloting. King Vajiralongkorn's got a Boeing 737 that's worth more than $100 million. But that's nothing compared to what's inside. This ain't your average private jet. The interior of this bad boy is decked out like a 5-star hotel in the sky. We're talking gold-plated everything from the bathroom to the cockpit. Yeah, you heard that right. Even the toilet's got the Midas touch. It's so fancy that other billionaires are probably jealous of this flying crib. But here's the kicker. Vajiralongkorn doesn't just sit back and enjoy the ride. He's a qualified pilot and sometimes flies this beast himself. Talk about a royal flex. While his dad, King Bhumibol, used to fly commercial like a regular Joe, Vajiralongkorn's like, nah, I need my own jet. And not just any jet. A jet with a bedroom, office, and even a throne room. Because when you're king, why not have a throne at 30,000 feet? The customizations on this plane are next level. It's like someone took a luxury hotel, shrunk it down, and stuffed it into a Boeing 737. The bedroom probably makes your master suite look like a closet. And the office? It's probably nicer than most CEOs. But the real showstopper is that throne room. I mean, who else can say they've got a literal throne in the sky? You'd think having your own $100 million flying hotel would be enough, right? Wrong. This Boeing 737 is just one of 38 aircraft Vajiralongkorn owns. Yeah, you heard that right, 38. It's like he's got his own private air force or something. While most of us are saving up for a weekend getaway, this guy's got enough planes to take a different one every day of the month and still have some left over. Crowning glory. The $31 million coronation. You thought birthday parties for dogs were extra? Hold on to your crown, because Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn just redefined royal extravagance with his $31 million coronation. Yeah, you heard that right. $31 million for a 3-day party. That's more cash than some countries see in a year. Now, coronations are always fancy affairs, but this one, it was like the king looked at other royal events and said, nah, not shiny enough. We're talking gold everywhere, from the throne to the toilets. It's like King Midas went on a decorating spree. The crown itself was something else. This thing was worth millions and weighed more than a newborn baby. Imagine wearing that on your head all day. Talk about a royal headache. But that's nothing compared to the rest of the show. They had this wild water ceremony using water from all 76 provinces in Thailand. It's like they were trying to make sure every drop in the country got an invite to the party. And speaking of invites, the guest list was insane. Royals and world leaders from all over showed up, probably wondering if they accidentally walked onto a movie set. But here's the kicker. While some folks were loving all this bling, others weren't so thrilled. Some people were praising the king for keeping traditions alive, while others were side-eyeing all that gold when the country's got its own money problems. It's like throwing a Gatsby party when your neighbors are eating ramen. Experts say this whole shebang shows a big shift in how the Thai monarchy rolls. The old King Bhumibol was more of a low-key dude, but Vajiralongkorn, he's cranking up the royal volume to 11. It's like going from a nice family dinner to a full-on Kardashian-style bash. Royal rides, the 300-car garage. You thought the coronation was extravagant? Buckle up, because King Vajiralongkorn's garage is about to make that look like a kiddie ride. We're talking about a car collection that'd make Fast and Furious look like a game of bumper cars. This ain't your average royal motorcade. It's a 300-car symphony of luxury that's worth more than some countries' entire economies. While his dad, King Bhumibol, had a few sweet rides, Vajiralongkorn cranked it up to 11. He's got Rolls Royces, Ferraris, and cars so fancy you've probably never even heard of them. But that's not even the craziest part. Some of these babies are custom-made just for him. Talk about exclusive, right? Imagine having a car for every mood. Well, Vajiralongkorn's got that covered. His garage is like a rainbow on wheels with cars in every color you can think of, and probably some you can't. It's like he looked at a Crayola box and said, yep, I'll take one in each. Now you might be thinking maintaining 300 cars must cost a fortune, and you'd be right. The upkeep on this royal fleet is so astronomical it could probably fund some serious charitable initiatives, but when you're king, I guess you don't sweat the small stuff like maintenance bills. Here's where it gets really wild. Vajiralongkorn doesn't just keep these beauties locked up in his garage. Nah, he likes to take them for a spin. But here's the kicker. Sometimes he closes down streets in Bangkok just to do it. It's like he's playing real-life Grand Theft Auto, but with a crown. Guess when you're king, traffic laws are more like traffic suggestions, huh? This whole car situation has got people talking. See, his dad was more of a low-key guy. But Vajiralongkorn, he's not just changing gears, he's swapping out the whole engine. His fancy car habits have raised some eyebrows, especially when he turns the city into his personal racetrack. It's not just about having the biggest, baddest collection of cars, it's about making a statement. And boy, is Vajiralongkorn making one. It's like he looked at regular royal life and said, nah, not fancy enough, and decided to rewrite the whole rulebook. Diamond Life, the king's jewelry collection. Forget fancy rides, because this royal's got rocks that'll make your eyes pop. King Vajiralongkorn ain't playing around when it comes to his bling game. We're talking about a jewelry collection that's so massive it'd make Liz Taylor's stash look like a kid's dress-up box. This king's got diamonds and gemstones so big you could use them as paperweights. No joke. It's like he saw regular-sized jewels and thought, nah, too small. Give me something I can see from space. And get this, his crown jewels are said to be even fancier than the British royal families. That's right, he's out here making the crown jewels look like they came from a gumball machine. But here's the kicker. Vajiralongkorn doesn't just save these bad boys for special occasions. Nope, he's rocking million-dollar necklaces and rings like they're everyday accessories. It's like he woke up one day and decided, you know what? I'm gonna wear a down payment on a mansion around my neck today. Now you'd think having all this ice would mean keeping it locked up tight, right? Well, some of these pieces are so valuable they've got their own security teams. That's next level rich, folks. It's not just a necklace, it's a necklace with its own bodyguards. But hold up, there's more to this story than just shiny rocks. The king's name, Vajiralongkorn, actually means adorned with jewels or thunderbolts in Thai. Talk about living up to your name, right? It's like his parents looked into a crystal ball and saw all this coming. Now you might be thinking, sure, he's got the bling, but what do people think about all this? Well, it's a mixed bag. Some folks are all starry-eyed over the king's wealth, probably dreaming about what they'd do with all those gems. But others? They ain't too happy about all this flashiness, especially when Thailand's got its fair share of money problems. It's like the king looked at regular royal life and said, nah, not fancy enough, and decided to rewrite the whole rule book. He's taken the idea of royal jewelry and cranked it up to 11. We're talking about a collection that's probably worth more than some countries' entire economies. It's not just jewelry anymore, it's a whole lifestyle. Royal real estate, the $30 billion property portfolio. You thought the king's jewelry was wild? Wait till you see his monopoly board. This ain't no Parker Brothers game. We're talking billions in real estate that'd make Donald Trump look like he's playing with Legos. King Vajiralongkorn's got a property portfolio worth a mind-blowing $30 billion. Yeah, you heard that right. $30 billion. But it ain't just about the money. This dude's got over 40,000 rental agreements with developers across Thailand. That's not just a few houses here and there. That's like owning half the country. And get this, his property holdings in Bangkok alone are so massive, it's like he's playing Sim City with real cash. It's not just a game anymore, it's a whole lifestyle. Now his dad, King Bhumibol, had some nice digs too, but Vajiralongkorn, he took that real estate game and cranked it up to 11. We're talking about a more aggressive approach to investing and managing properties. It's like he looked at his dad's portfolio and said, nah, not enough, let's buy everything. And when we say everything, we mean everything. Some of Vajiralongkorn's properties are so fancy they make Buckingham Palace look like a shack. Yeah, that Buckingham Palace, the one everyone thinks is the pinnacle of royal living. Well, this Thai king's got places that'll make your jaw drop harder than seeing the Queen in sweatpants. But here's the kicker. This dude sometimes closes down entire hotels just for his personal use. Imagine rolling up to a 5-star hotel and being like, yeah, I'll take the whole thing. That's the kind of privilege we're talking about. It's not just about having a nice place to crash. It's about owning the whole dang building and deciding who gets to stay there. And it ain't just for show either. Experts say Vajiralongkorn's real estate empire isn't just about having a bunch of fancy houses. Nope, it's actually shaping the economic landscape of Thailand. This king isn't just living large, he's playing a whole different game of Monopoly where he owns all the properties and everyone else is just paying rent. Royal wardrobe, the $1 million outfit. You thought the king's real estate game was wild. Wait till you hear about his wardrobe. This dude's got outfits that cost more than houses. No joke, King Vajiralongkorn's been spotted wearing $1 million fit like it's no big deal. We're talking about clothes that make designer price tags look like pocket change. Remember how his dad was all about those simple Thai silk threads? Well, Vajiralongkorn said nah to that and went full-on fashion icon. He's rocking crop tops that probably cost more than your ride. Yeah, you heard that right, a crop top. And it ain't just any crop top, it's one that's got people talking and turning heads. But that's just the start. This king's wardrobe is like a fashion week on steroids. He's got shoes that could probably pay off your student loans and still have enough left over for a fancy dinner. And don't even get me started on his accessories. Each piece is worth a small fortune, making his entire outfit look like a walking jewelry store. Vajiralongkorn's style is so extra, it's like he looked at regular royal fashion and said, hold my diamond-encrusted beer. He's changing outfits more often than some people change their socks. It's like every day is a new runway show and he's always the star. His wardrobe? Probably bigger than most people's apartments. Imagine having a closet so big you could get lost in it. That's Vajiralongkorn's reality. He's got more designer pieces than some boutiques, and each one is more luxurious than the last. But it ain't just about looking good. Experts say his fashion choices are making a statement. It's like he's using his threads to show off a new kind of monarchy, one that's all about flash and cash. Every outfit is a power move, screaming, "I'm the king and I've got the wardrobe to prove it." And the public, they're split. Some folks are in awe of his bold style, while others are raising eyebrows. That crop top especially has got people talking. It's not every day you see a king showing off his midriff, right? Royal Workout, the bike ride that shut down a city. You thought a crop top was wild? Wait till you hear about this king's workout routine. King Vajiralongkorn of Thailand doesn't just go for a casual bike ride in the park. Nah, he shuts down entire streets in Bangkok for his royal cycling events. We're talking about turning the capital into his personal tour to Thailand. This ain't no one-time thing either. The king's got a passion for cycling that puts your spin class to shame. He's out there regularly, pedaling through the city like he owns the place. Well, I guess he kinda does. And while his dad was into quiet hobbies like photography, Vajiralongkorn's like, "Hold my crown, I need more adrenaline." Now you might think, okay, cool, the king likes to bike. But this ain't your average cycling club. The bikes he rides are probably worth more than most people make in a year. We're talking high-end models that would make even pro cyclists jealous. It's like he looked at a regular bike and said, "Nah, not fancy enough for a king." But here's where it gets really wild. When Vajiralongkorn decides to go for a ride, it's not just him and a bike. He's got a whole entourage following him around. It's like a parade. But instead of floats, it's a bunch of people trying to keep up with the king on his fancy bike. Traffic? What traffic? When you're the king, the whole city becomes your personal bike lane. Now, you might be wondering what the people of Bangkok think about all this. Well, it's kinda split. Some folks are all, "Wow, look at our fit king," while others are more like, "Dude, I'm trying to get to work here." It's not every day your commute gets messed up because the king decided it was a good day for a bike ride. But here's the thing. Vajiralongkorn isn't just doing this for fun. It's like he's turned exercise into a national event. When most of us work out, maybe a few people at the gym notice. When the king works out, the whole city knows about it. It's like he looked at normal exercise and said, "Too boring, let's make it epic." This whole cycling thing is just one part of Vajiralongkorn's fitness routine. The guy's committed to staying in shape and he's not afraid to show it off. It's a pretty big change from how things used to be. His dad, King Bhumibol, was more about keeping things low-key. But Vajiralongkorn, he's all about making a statement, whether it's with his clothes or his workout routine. Royal education, the $40,000 per semester school. All right, you thought college was expensive? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into some next-level education costs. Prince Dipankorn, the son of Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn, is getting schooled at one of Europe's priciest institutions. We're talking $40,000 per semester. That's not tuition. That's a down payment on a house. This school ain't your average learning spot. It's more like a luxury resort with some textbooks thrown in. The amenities are so fancy you'd think you were at a five-star hotel instead of a classroom. And get this, the little prince probably has his own security detail following him around campus. Talk about having your own entourage at school. Now let's talk about that school uniform. It's not your typical polyester nightmare. Nah, this thing probably costs more than most people's entire wardrobe. We're talking designer threads that would make Fashion Week jealous. It's like the school's motto is dress for the job you want, especially if that job is being filthy rich. But here's the kicker, this whole private school thing. It's a big change from how the royal family used to roll. King Vajiralongkorn's dad was all about that public education life. But the new king, he's like private school or bust. It's not just about learning your ABCs and 123S anymore. This is like a crash course in how to be ultra-rich. And you know what's wild? This fancy education is shaping up the future of Thailand's monarchy. Experts are saying it's instilling a sense of entitlement and prepping the prince for a life of luxury and power. It's like they're grooming him to be the CEO of Thailand Inc. Compare that to how most Thai kids are getting their education. They're in public schools, probably dreaming about having air conditioning, while Prince Dipankorn is probably complaining that his solid gold pencil is too heavy to write with. The difference is mind-blowing. But hey, when you're royalty, I guess your school supplies list includes things like diamond-encrusted calculators and backpacks made from the finest Italian leather. It's taking invest in education to a whole new level of crazy. Most parents are worried about affording textbooks while the king's dropping more cash on his kids' schooling than some people make in a year. Royal pets, the diamond-collared poodles. You think the king's education spending was wild? Well, hold on to your leashes, because we're about to dive into some next-level pet pampering. These ain't your average poodles. We're talking about dogs with bling that'd make rappers jealous. When it comes to royal pets, King Vajiralongkorn's poodles are living large. These furry friends aren't just wearing any old collar, they're sporting diamond-studded neckwear worth millions. It's like the king looked at regular dog accessories and said, "Nah, not fancy enough." These collars probably cost more than most people's houses, and that's just the start of their luxurious lifestyle. The king's poodles don't just eat regular kibble. They're probably chowing down on gourmet meals that'd make Gordon Ramsay jealous. And forget about basic grooming. These dogs are getting the full spa treatment on the regular. Their fur is probably softer than silk sheets, and their nails are probably more manicured than a beauty queen's. But the royal treatment doesn't stop there. These poodles have their own staff. Yeah, you heard that right. While most of us struggle to find a dog sitter for the weekend, these pups have a whole team dedicated to their every need. It's like they've got their own entourage, but instead of bodyguards, it's all about belly rubs and treats. And let's talk about their wardrobe. These dogs ain't just running around naked or with a basic sweater. No way. They're strutting their stuff in custom-made outfits that probably cost more than your entire wardrobe. It's like doggy fashion week every day at the palace. Now, King Bhumibol, Vajiralongkorn's dad, had some nice pets too. But this is like taking pet care to a whole new level of crazy. It's not just about having a loyal companion anymore. It's about having the fanciest, most blinged-out furry friend in all of Thailand. The public's reaction to all this dog luxury, well, it's been kind of mixed. Some people think it's cool to see pets living the high life, while others are raising their eyebrows at all the excess. It's like most people are worried about affording dog food, while the king's dropping more cash on his poodles than some folks make in a year. But hey, when you're royalty, I guess even your pets gotta live like kings and queens. These poodles are probably living better than most humans with their diamond collars, gourmet meals, and personal staff. It's a dog's life, all right, but not the kind most of us are used to. Royal parties, the million-dollar birthday bashes. If you thought the king's poodles were living large, just wait till you hear about his birthday bashes. This guy throws parties that make Hollywood after-parties look like kids' tea time. We're talking about celebrations that cost millions and make your wildest party dreams seem like a snooze fest. Vajiralongkorn's birthday celebrations are like someone took the Met Gala, the Oscars, and New Year's Eve, mixed them all up, and then cranked the fancy dial to 11. His 72nd birthday bash. It had a grand parade at Bangkok's Royal Plaza. That's right, a whole parade just for his birthday. His dad used to keep things pretty chill, but Vajiralongkorn's like, nah, let's make this a national event. The guest list for these parties is insane. It's probably longer than the Thai constitution, no joke. We're talking about a who's who of high-profile peeps. And the entertainment? It's not just some local cover band. Vajiralongkorn's got international superstars performing at his parties. It's like Coachella, but with a royal twist and way more bling. Speaking of bling, let's talk about the gifts. These ain't your average thanks for the socks grandma presents. The rumors about what people give this king would make your jaw drop. We're talking about gifts so fancy they probably need their own security detail. It's like everyone's trying to one-up each other in the who can give the most ridiculous present competition. And don't even get me started on the fireworks. This king's got displays that could probably be seen from space. It's like he looked at normal fireworks and said, cute, but can we make them visible from Mars? While his dad was all about keeping it low-key, Vajiralongkorn's turning every birthday into a light show that'd make Disney World jealous. But here's the kicker. Not everyone's loving this over-the-top party vibe. Some folks are all ooh-ah about the spectacle, but others are giving some major side-eye. They're wondering if all this cash couldn't be better spent, especially when Thailand's got some economic challenges. It's like throwing the fanciest party ever while your neighbors are scraping by. Royal Travels, the $30 million German getaway. Yo, if you thought dropping a few $100 on a fancy hotel was splurging, wait till you hear about Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn. This dude took a vacation that cost more than most people's lifetime earnings. We're talking about a $30 million stay at a luxury hotel in Germany. That's not a typo. $30 million for one trip. But here's the kicker. He didn't just book a room or even the presidential suite. Nah, this king went and booked the entire hotel. The whole place just for him and his crew. It's like he looked at regular hotel stays and was like, nah, too basic, let's level this up. And get this, the king didn't just show up with a suitcase, he rolled in with his own furniture and decor. Yeah, you heard that right. He redecorated the place to his liking. It's like he thought, this five-star joint, it's okay I guess, but it needs more me. Now his dad, King Bhumibol, was all about keeping it low-key. he'd stick around Thailand for his vacations. But Vajiralongkorn, he's out here making international trips look like local staycations. It's a whole new game. The security for these royal trips is next level too. We're talking more intense than Fort Knox. It's like the king's got his own personal army just to go on vacation, and you can bet the hotel staff had to sign so many non-disclosure agreements they probably couldn't even tell their mums they went to work that day. But here's the thing, not everyone's loving this over-the-top travel style. Back in Thailand, some folks are side-eyeing these extravagant trips. They're looking at their own economic struggles and wondering if all that cash couldn't be better spent. Meanwhile, in Germany, people are kind of shocked. They're not used to seeing royals roll through town like they're shooting the next big budget blockbuster. It's wild to think about, right? Most of us are out here trying to score a deal on a budget airline, and this king's redecorating entire hotels for fun. It's like he's playing vacation on a whole different level. While we're trying to make our dollars stretch for a weekend getaway, he's out there making million-dollar memories. Royal business, the $9 billion stock portfolio. All right, let's talk about King Vajiralongkorn's side hustle that's making even Wall Street sharks look like guppies. This guy ain't just sitting on a throne, he's got a $9 billion stock portfolio that's giving Warren Buffett a run for his money. We're talking about owning major chunks of Thailand's biggest companies like it's no big deal. You think your investment app is cool? This king owns more than 23% of Siam Commercial Bank, one of Thailand's top banks. That's not just having an account, that's practically owning the vault. But he ain't stopping there. Vajiralongkorn's also got his royal fingers in over 33% of Siam Cement Group, the country's largest industrial conglomerate. Talk about diversifying your portfolio. These ain't just any companies either. We're talking about the backbone of Thailand's economy. It's like the king looked at the country's financial system and said, I'll take a slice of that pie. Actually make it a third of the whole bakery. The dividends from these investments are so massive, they could probably fund a small country. Heck, with that kind of cash flow, he could probably start his own small country if he wanted to. Now you might be thinking, didn't the old king have some investments too? Sure, King Bhumibol had his share of stocks, but this is like going from playing Monopoly to actually owning half the board. It's Wolf of Wall Street Royal Edition, and Vajiralongkorn's the star of the show. But here's where it gets wild. This king ain't just living off royal allowances or taxpayer money. He's building a straight-up business empire. It's like he looked at normal rich people and said, cute, but watch this. When you're king, you don't just wear the crown, you own half the kingdom and then some. Now, some folks might raise an eyebrow at a monarch having such a massive stake in the country's economy. It's kind of like being both the referee and the star player in the game of national finance. But when you're the king, who's going to tell you to bench yourself? Royal power, the constitution-changing king. You thought owning half the economy was wild? Hold on to your crown, because this king's got a whole new game. We're talking about rewriting the rules of an entire country. Imagine if Jeff Bezos could change the US Constitution whenever he felt like it. That's the level of power we're dealing with here. King Vajiralongkorn ain't just sitting pretty on his throne. Nah, he's taken the idea of royal power and cranked it up to 11. This guy's got more control over Thailand than some CEOs have over their companies. It's like he looked at how his dad ran things and said, that's cute, but watch this. So here's the deal. Vajiralongkorn can veto any law he doesn't like. Yeah, you heard that right. The parliament? It's basically turned into a suggestion box. They can pass all the laws they want, but if the king ain't feeling it, it's not happening. It's like having a big red nope stamp for the whole country. But wait, there's more. This king's got his hands directly on the royal piggy bank. We're talking billions in assets that he's taken control of. It's like he's playing Monopoly, but with real money and real buildings. And guess who makes the rules? Yep, you got it, the king himself. Now, some folks might be thinking, but wasn't the old king powerful too? Sure, King Bhumibol had some juice, but this is different. It's like going from king to emperor. Vajiralongkorn's taken the whole royal influence thing and turned it into royal dominance. And get this, he's got more say in government decisions than some elected officials. It's like he's both the coach and the star player, calling the shots and scoring the points. Who's gonna tell him to sit on the bench? The craziest part, this ain't just about money or fancy titles. We're talking about the power to shape an entire country. Vajiralongkorn's basically got a magic wand that can change laws, move money, and influence pretty much everything in Thailand. Some experts are getting pretty worried about what this means for democracy in Thailand. It's like watching a game where one player keeps changing the rules. How's anyone else supposed to play?